Year of high school, I had an audition for a job. And we had to audition for this job. It was a job to teach kids how to cook. Out of the 60 people or so that auditioned, only 2 people got hired. I was one of them. And they hired me because I demonstrated well knife safety and how to use a knife properly. So today, you should listen to me because just like the kids I taught back then, I'm going to teach you how to not lose your finger. So in this speech, I'm going to demonstrate how to use a knife like a pro and how to do it safely. So first thing I want to talk about is where to choose your knife and why it's important to keep it sharp. Second thing I want to talk about is different ways to hold your knife, and the third thing I want to talk about is the safety techniques you should use when using a knife. So first off, how to choose your knife. Knives can be very expensive. To find the proper knife for you, you should go to a specialty kitchen store where they have glass cases. I'm sure you've seen them, like Williams-Sonoma in the mall and stuff. With glass cases with all the different knives you can try. It's important that you actually, when you want to choose a really good kitchen knife or chef's knife, that you get to hold the knife and you get to feel how the weight feels in your hand and how it's balanced so you're comfortable using it. As Mary Ellen Driscoll, the editor of Fine Dining magazine, she says the knife should feel comfortable in your hand like an extension of your arm. So once you find a knife that fits comfortably in your hand and you're comfortable using it, you have to make sure it's sharp. Very important. One of the most important things to do is to make sure you use a sharp knife whenever you're cutting. Because believe it or not, a dull knife is actually more dangerous than a sharp knife. How can that be? Well, if you're cutting something hard like a carrot or something, it's hard to cut, like with the sharp knife even. But when you're using a dull knife, you have to use a lot more pressure, which makes it easier for you to slip and maybe cut your finger off. So the second thing I want to talk about is the different ways to hold your knife. J. Kenji Lopez-Alt, chef and chief culinary director of SeriousEats.com, says the 2 best ways to hold your knife are the handle grip and the blade grip. So the handle grip is kind of self-explanatory. It's just like this. You hold the knife by the handle only with your whole hand and all your fingers behind the bolster. The bolster is where the blade comes out of the handle and extends. This is used primarily by less experienced chefs or chefs with really small hands that can't get the next grip. The next grip is the blade grip. Blade grip, you just slide your fingers up so you're actually grasping the blade with your forefinger and your thumb. This gives you more control when you're cutting things precisely, and this is usually used by more experienced chefs when they want to do something more precise. So moving into the safety techniques that you should use when actually cutting. So when you're cutting, you pick which grip you like. And you always have to make sure whenever you're cutting something round, like a tomato or an onion, you always want to have a flat surface. So I always like to make a flat surface so I could put down whatever I'm cutting and it would be more stable like this. And make sure you choose the right cutting surface. Never, ever, ever choose metal, glass, or tile cutting surfaces, because that, 1, dulls the knife quickly, and 2, on those hard surfaces like that, it's easier for a knife to slip. Now with wood or plastic cutting boards, the knife actually bites into the surface of the board, making it harder for it to slide away from you. So when you're cutting, you should always use the bear claw technique, something that I was taught when I was a kid. And it's when you tuck your fingers under and use your knuckles to actually glide, use the knuckles to glide the knife across them so you still have control while keeping your fingers safe. That way you can make more precise cuts, when you're cutting. And then the last technique that I want to talk to you about is called the choo-choo train technique. So the choo-choo train technique is best when you're dicing. The choo-choo train technique is just like the wheels of a choo-choo train. You keep your tip of the knife down on the table, or down on your cutting surface, and you just rock the knife back and forth like this, like a choo-choo train. And it's really best for dicing onions or chopping herbs or something like that. because it gives you more control of the knife, less slipping, and you can still use your knuckles and the bear claw technique to cut through things. And it gives you nice, even dices. So today we talked about how to use a knife like a pro and do it safely. We covered choosing the proper knife for you and keeping it sharp, how you should hold your knife, and the different safety techniques to use when you're actually cutting. So if you ever have a job interview where you need to show someone how to cut something, you know how to do it now. Thank you.